Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. My name is Donna O'Connor. I'm a financial coach and a financial counselor with Hopelink, and we're here to talk about credit. So I thought it might be helpful to show you a sample of what a TransUnion credit report looks like. So we're going to jump over to a sample credit report so that you can see what it might look like when you open up a credit report or when you get your credit report. And so I'm going to scroll up to the top. And again, this is just a sample. This is not a real person's credit report, but this will show you kind of what's on that credit report. So we talked about personal information being on your credit report, and this is where you'll find it. It's usually the first thing that is shown. And they'll have your social security number, your date of birth, your names, addresses, phone numbers, possibly some employers. Not all employers report information to the credit bureaus, so don't be concerned if you don't see all of the employers on here. What you want to be looking for is if there's an employer listed that you've never worked for. That's not to say someone's committed fraud. It just means that that's a red flag that you want to look at and say, oh, that's weird. I wonder why that's on there. And then you can just contact that employer and find out if that was just a mistake or if somebody is in fact using your social security number. That's kind of what you're looking for there. But don't be alarmed if all of your employers are not listed on there. When it comes to names, I do want to highlight on here, if you'll notice, this person's name is Kathy Consumer. She's got her name listed a number of different ways. Kathy L. Consumer, Kathy Consumer spelled with a K, and then CL Consumer. This is very, very common. Names will be reported based on whatever company's doing the reporting. They're using that information, and there could be mistakes with that. So this is not something, if I were this consumer, I would not be really that worried about this at all. They're all really her name. The only thing I might want to dispute or ask to have removed is this one that starts with a K, because that's not how she spells her name. So you really want to be pretty careful about anything on your credit report. If it's not accurate, then you can dispute it and ask to have it removed. So this is one I would probably ask to have removed. The other thing here is addresses, and you may see a lot of addresses really duplicated because one or like just there's small differences in the address. So for example, on this one, Kathy Consumer, she lived at 123 Main Street in apartment 3. And you can see it's the same address, really. It's just they abbreviated apartment and they abbreviated street. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Willow Avenue, let's say Kathy lived there, right? But as she's reviewing the report, she sees this other one from Altoona, Pennsylvania. And let's say Kathy never lived in Altoona, Pennsylvania. This is one where you would want to get removed from your credit report. You can ask to have that removed because you've never lived there. That's definitely something that you want to have removed. Any addresses that you've never lived at. Phone numbers are also reported. Those are tough. If you remember your phone number, great. But a lot of us have had a lot of phone numbers over the years. So we just recommend skimming through the phone numbers. If you don't recognize a number, ask to have it removed. If you don't recognize an area code, ask to have that removed, right? Just you want to make sure all of the personal information is accurate. Then we move to account information. And remember, we talked about two different types of accounts. There are adverse accounts and there are satisfactory accounts. And so the adverse accounts are the accounts that are having a negative impact on your credit. These accounts will stay on your credit report for 7 years from the date of first delinquency. And that means the date that you first were late on those payments is kind of when that clock starts. So for this particular consumer, looks like Kathy had a credit card from JP Morgan. And again, this is a fake credit report. So this is not real. This is just to illustrate what this might look like when you do pull your credit report. So you can see on here that she had an individual account. It's a credit card. And looks like Kathy was late starting around March of 2018. And you can see that here's where it's being reported as 30 days late, 60, 90, 120 days late. And then eventually this account was closed. And probably sold to a debt collector or a collection agent. So this information will stay on Kathy's report, like I said, until 7 years from the date she first went delinquent. So they're estimating around January of 2025 is when this will be removed from her credit report. So even if Kathy were to go in and maybe she negotiates and she pays this, settles this debt, and it goes down to zero, this would still be reported on her credit report, even though she paid the debt down to zero. So again, 7 years from the date you first go delinquent. Another adverse account that Kathy has on here is this is a collection account. It's from credit management collection account. And we can see on here that this account was the original creditor was Just Energy Texas. So right away, that sends up a flag because Kathy's never lived in Texas. And so this is clearly a mistake, or somebody has been using her information. So this is something that you would, if you were Kathy, you would want to have that disputed right away, and have it removed from your credit report because it's not her. And then this is another one, ABC Collections, where apparently Kathy might have had an AT&T bill that went to collections and is past due. And so again, she would want to research and make sure if this was hers, and if it's accurate. So those are the three kind of negative information that Kathy, this particular consumer, might have on her credit report. And then the next thing we move to, and again, you can see on here, I'll just go up for a second, where it says estimated month and year that this item will be removed. That's an important piece of information, because if it's past that date, then you can contact the credit bureau and ask that they remove that from the credit report because it shouldn't be on there anymore. Then the next types of accounts are what we call the satisfactory accounts. And these are the accounts that are having positive impact on your credit report. So Kathy, in this particular case, looks like she has a car loan. And so she's doing great, right? She's paying, you see all that green, everything's good. You're tracking the balance, making her payments, and that's all having very positive impact on her credit report and her credit score. We also see that Kathy has a credit card. She has an active credit card right now. And she's doing a great job of paying her credit card, right? So we can see she's making those payments every month. It's all green. That looks great. But something else to notice about this account. Kathy's balance right now is $5,091. And when you look up here, her credit limit is $5,000. And so that is problematic. Yes, Kathy's paying on her account and she's doing a good job with that. Looks like she's making her minimum payments on time, but she's also over her credit limit on her credit card. And that will have a pretty significant impact, negative impact on her credit score. She's probably over that limit because this is probably interest that accrued from month to month. So that's what pushed her over the $5,000 limit. But this is a situation where Kathy has some good and not so good information being reported to the credit bureaus. Good in that she's paying her card on time, not so good in that she's over her credit limit. So this is just an example of what impact this could potentially have, negative and positive, on Kathy's credit score. And then as we move down, you'll see these are the inquiries that I talked about earlier: soft inquiries, hard inquiries. So a regular inquiry, this is just Kathy probably applied for a loan or applied for something at Main Street Bank, and then this would stay on her credit report for 2 years. Now, only one inquiry like this, that's not going to have a huge impact on her score. Her score will go down, then it'll come back up again. It will stay on there for 2 years, but it's not going to have a significant impact on her score. If she had a lot of them all at the same time, that might be different. That would have much more of an impact on her score because it looks like she's trying to take too much credit out at once, and that could be damaging to her credit score. The other inquiries on here are the things that we talked about earlier with soft pulls or soft inquiries. And these are account reviews. So as we know, Kathy has a car note with Ford Credit. Again, this is not a real account. And she has a credit card with AAA Credit Union. This is very common to see on your credit report. This is just companies just kind of checking it out, seeing how things are going, and just doing annual account reviews. This does not have any impact on your credit score. And then again, promotional inquiries. They talked about this as well. Looks like a couple of companies had looked at Kathy's credit to determine whether or not they wanted to provide an offer or send her an offer. And again, I have some information about how do you opt out of that. If you don't want people looking at your credit report to send you offers, you can opt out of that. And at the very bottom of the credit report, and this goes for TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, you will see three options to contact the credit reporting company. You can either contact them online, by mail, or by phone if you want to dispute any information on the credit report. So in this case, Kathy has a few things that she would want to dispute. So she can do that online, by mail, or by phone. So everybody's always offered three options to dispute information that is inaccurate on your credit report.